In this video, I want to find out how well can the new 3DS XL perform when it comes to browsing the internet, because as you know, gaming consoles aren't really known for browsing the internet. So let's see if the new 3DS XL can be your next internet browser. Can it replace your smartphone? Can it replace your tablet? Can it replace your laptop? Can it replace your desktop? Can it be your primary internet browsing device? Now keep in mind, this is the new 3DS XL. This is not the new 3DS, the smaller version. But they both have the same specs inside, so it should be about the same whether you're buying the new 3DS or the new 3DS XL. Also keep in mind, I'm pretty sure the new 3DS and new 3DS XL do not support the latest Wi-Fi speeds, which are AC. They still only support the old N, so take that with a grain of salt as well when you're watching this video. They only support the older Wi-Fi speeds, which are N. And also keep in mind, depending on what area you are, it will vary between speeds, but this should just give you a little idea of how well and how good the internet browser or how bad the internet browser is on the new 3DS XL slash new 3DS. Now anyway, I already have the internet browser already pulled up on screen on my new 3DS XL, and here's what you get on the web browser. I think it's the same web browser that you've gotten on the DSi or the DS Lite. I think it's the Opera browser, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure if it's still the Opera browser. But here's what you get when you load up the browser. I didn't calculate the time it takes to open up the browser. I'm just calculating how fast the speeds are when you're actually in the web browser. But when you're loading the web browser on the new 3DS and new 3DS XL, it actually loads up pretty fast. It maybe takes 1 or 2 seconds to open up. It's not really that slow to open up, so just take that into consideration. Now here's the main menu, or here's the main interface of the web browser. What you have is you have recent or your favorites, your bookmarks, and it comes with some pre-installed. I have YouTube, Google, Yahoo, and Nintendo 3DS bookmarks right there. And then you got one where you can favorite a web page or a site. You can go back or forward a page when you're on the internet. You also got minus and plus, and what the minus and plus do on the bottom, they let you zoom in and out, kind of like not binoculars, but kind of like a magnifying glass. There you go, a magnifying glass. And then you also, right here at the bottom, you can create different pages or more pages, kind of like tabs on a regular desktop or a cell phone. You can make more tabs if you need to leave more pages open. And since the new 3DSs have more RAM inside, a little bit more RAM, you should be able to hold more pages in the RAM. If you have to multitask, it should be a little bit better at multitasking. And then up at the top right here, you can enter the URL if you want to go to a certain website. And then you also got a refresh button right there, and nothing on the top is going on. Everything you're going to be doing or controlling, of course, is going to be on the touchscreen. And then here's what you get in the settings. You got add bookmark, text wrap. They're kind of grayed out right now until you get on an actual website. But you have add bookmarks, text wrap, request mobile site, and settings. And here's everything you got in the settings. You really don't got much in settings. You got Yahoo. You got your search engine. You can choose your search engine, and they give you two options when it comes to your search engine. You got Google and you got Yahoo. No AOL or no MSN or no Bing. Only Google and Yahoo for your search engine. Then you got delete cookies, and I know there's a bar on the very bottom on the side on my bottom screen. But if I scroll down, it just shows you the information on my router, like my router name, my MAC address, and stuff like that. So I'm not going to be scrolling down on that, but that's pretty much all there is in the settings. The settings on the browser is very, very bare bones. You're not getting a lot of features with this, like no private mode and no other things you would see on a regular desktop browser or even a smartphone or a tablet browser. So it's very bare bones when it comes to features on the web browser. I'm going to go ahead and go back. And that's just a tour of the web browser. Now, of course, I'm gonna go ahead and load up a website. I'm gonna load up some websites, and then I'll also check out and see if an actual video from the web actually plays on this. I might see if a YouTube video loads. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and touch the enter URL, and the standard 3ds keyboard does come up, so you can type something. I'm gonna go to Engadget.com. Engadget.com. Okay. Now, as you can see on the top screen, it does give you a little indicator of how long it takes for the website to load. The blue bar, once it's all the way across the top of the top screen, that means the website has loaded. And just keep in mind, I do get fairly good internet speeds at my house. I usually get about 120 up most of the time. It does vary, of course, but most of the time I do get about 120, not up, excuse me. I get 120 down. I do apologize for that. I do get about 120 down, so this should be loading pretty fast. Now, as you can see, you just use the bottom screen to scroll up and down the screen, and it does take up both screens right there. It does take up both screens. As you can see, it's having a lot of difficulty loading the pictures or the information on the website. So I'm going to assume that if the website's full of text or has a lot of pictures on the website or a lot of things going on the website, it's going to have a very hard time loading the website. It says at the bottom screen, because of the size of this page, not all of the page could not be displayed. That's not because of my internet. It's actually because of the 3DS capability. It's only, I think, dual core, and it has, I don't know, not even 1 gig of RAM, I do believe. Don't quote me on the specs of the new 3DSs or the new 3DS XL, but right now, as you can see, it's having a very hard time loading up Engadget. So I'm going to go ahead and press yes and see if it'll still try to load the page. As you can see, it's basically trying to refresh the page right here. And it looks like it's going to still have some kind of difficulty. Let's try something else, maybe CNN or Google search for something, a generic term. Let's see if it can bring up a page with with only text on the screen. Let's see how it brings up one of those. Now I can go to the bottom. It's going to bring up the same picture you just seen, but if you keep scrolling, it's still having some kind of difficulties loading this. Yeah, for the most part, it's not loading everything correctly. It's still kind of like you're getting half of pictures and things like that, at least on Engadget.com. And this is, right now, this is not a good sign for the new 3DS XL. Not a good sign. So let's go ahead and exit out this page. It's just probably not going to load. Well, it's trying to load it, but it's still having somewhat of difficulties. And since yeah, it had difficulties. You can see on the bottom, it brought that same message up. But as you can see, when you're scrolling up and down the screen, or the screens, I should say, it's not really the best experience anyway, because half the page is on the top and half the page is on the bottom. And the problem with that is you got the little hinge on the 3DS right there, so it does look kind of awkward and it feels awkward. Especially when you're holding this in your hand and you're trying to browse the internet, most likely, or for the most part, you're going to be using the stylus that's included to scroll up and down the web page. So it is going to be kind of weird to browse the internet. But let's go ahead and click no. Let me go ahead and clear this out of the cache or whatever, so it won't be trying to load it or whatnot. I'm going to go ahead and exit. Let's just go to google.com. I'm going to load up a Google. As you can see, since it's just a search engine, it brought up Google really, really fast. Now I'm just going to search for a term right here. I'm just going to search for, I guess, cars or hamburgers. Better yet, hamburgers. Food in general. Let's just type in food. Whoops. I meant to type in food, but that's okay. It's just a test anyway. So as you can see, it did load up the Google page. And since the 3DS screens are pretty small, or at least the bottom one, you will have to use your magnifying glass at the very bottom bar. You will have to use the plus and minus. As you can see, once I press the plus button, you can see the search and you can scroll around. But even so, it's pretty, I would honestly say it's pretty clunky, honestly. You can see, and then if you zoom out, you get the full page. Then you can scroll up and down the full Google page like that. So this page did load faster than Engadget just because it had less pictures to deal with, or less stuff going on the screen, mostly text. So if the website's not picture heavy, then it's gonna have an easy time loading it. But if it's a heavy site with a lot of pictures, most likely it's either not gonna load it, or it's gonna be very, very, very slow to load the page. Now let me go ahead and click on the Wikipedia and see what happens when I load the Wikipedia page for this. As you can see, again, it is a text page. Mostly, there is a couple pictures, or one picture so far. It didn't have a hard time loading this page, but safely, I can say that if you like looking at pictures on the internet, or if you like a site that has a lot of things going on, then this is probably a no-go browser for you, to be honest. But if you read a lot of documents on the internet, or if you like websites that don't have any pictures, then you'll be okay with this web browser. But even so, when you're looking at a page that has a lot of text, it's still not the best experience, like I said, because there is that whole hinge in the middle, and just using the stylus. And even if you minus it to make the page a normal page, it's just kind of like, really. I did forget to mention now, when you do click the settings button right there, some of them aren't grayed out anymore. At the beginning of the video, they were grayed out, but they're not grayed out anymore because, as you can see, I am on a web page, so there it is. You can add bookmarks, text wrap, or request mobile site. So I'll go back to Engadget and request mobile site. Maybe that'll make it load a little bit faster, or maybe it'll make it load up properly. It's going to reload Wikipedia in a mobile version, but I'm going to go ahead and back out of it real quick, and then I'm gonna go to Engadget again, and we'll see if it loads it up any faster. I forgot to click open, but there it is. Now it's reloading Engadget. Just going back to Engadget and seeing what it does when it's on the mobile version. I think once you click mobile version, yes, once you click mobile version for one site, it's the mobile version for every site you search. So anytime you're searching a website, if you clicked on request mobile site, it'll stay on mobile site for every site you do. You don't need to keep clicking on mobile site. Now, as you can see, it loaded this 100% yes, it loaded this 100% better than before, because this is the mobile site. So it probably knows you're on a mobile device. I don't know if you're going to get that same message on the bottom screen that says it couldn't load everything on the page, or is having problems loading. But right now, it looks like it loaded most everything, because like I said again, this is the mobile version of the site. So it did do a little bit better job with this. Now I'm going to go ahead and open multiple websites and see how well it can handle like opening up tabs, since it does. Nope, it looks like it still had a problem even with the mobile site. It couldn't load everything because, like I said again, Engadget is a very very heavy site with a lot of things going on. So I'm just going to go ahead and click no. And I'm going to go ahead and, I guess I'll just leave it open, that's fine. Or, no, I won't, because it might try to load that again. I'm going to go ahead and new page. I'm going to go to CNN.com. Just going to try to open up some multiple tabs. I don't know if it's going to load them in the background or what, but I'm going to go ahead and see what happens. I'll go to Facebook. Whoops. Book. Talk. And the one downside, even with the new 3DS XL, even with the bigger screens, it's still not a very pleasurable experience anyway, just because even with the bigger screens, if you compare it to a normal smartphone in 2016, most of them start about 5 inches or even 4.8, 4.9 inches. So, and they're facing a different direction. They're up and down instead of like across. So it will be a little bit better experience anyway, because as you know, it's just a better experience when the screens aren't going across. It's better off they're going up and down like a smartphone. So that's another reason that it's probably better to browse the web on your mobile device like your smartphone. So Facebook did load the mobile. Keep in mind these are all mobile sites I'm loading up. Let's see if I can switch back and forth. I guess it doesn't load pages in the background, so if it's still loading a page or it's trying to load a page, when you try to open up a new tab, it's gonna not be it's not gonna be trying to like download it or open it up when you're switching tabs. And as you can see, I guess also CNN is a very picture heavy or a very heavy site. Unfortunately, this has a lot of stuff going on the CNN.com to where it said that same message. So yeah, it looks like every time, since the RAM's still not that big on the new 3DSs, it has to refresh the page. Even with the newer systems, it has to refresh the page. As you can see, I'm only on 2 pages on the web, and switching between them, it has to reload them. It doesn't take that long to reload them. I'm actually pretty surprised the speed is not as bad as I was thinking. I was thinking the new 3DSs, or even the 3DS in general, the speeds were pretty slow, but I'm actually surprised the speeds weren't as bad as I was thinking. I was thinking it was going to take like 5 minutes for one website to open, but for the most part, most websites aren't opening because they're picture heavy. So I'm just going to go ahead and back out of these. It's having a problem. I'm just going to exit off both of these. And the one thing I want to know now before I head out of the video is, can this play videos from the web? Of course, the most common site is YouTube, and you're watching this on YouTube right now. So let's see if this can actually play YouTube videos on the web. Does it have Flash? Does it have HTML? If it plays it, that means it has some type of Flash or some type of HTML baked in the browser. So let's give that a go. I'm gonna go to YouTube. It loaded up YouTube actually pretty fast. That's also because I'm on the mobile site. Mobile site. So I'm gonna go ahead and search for myself, just so I won't get any copyright strikes. Okay, there I am. I'll just click on my newest video. Let's see if it plays my newest video. Yes, it looks like you can actually watch YouTube videos on the new 3DS and new 3DS XL. I don't know if you can watch them on the older 3DSs or the 2DS, but on the newer ones, you can watch YouTube videos baked into the browser. I'm just gonna cut right to the chase in this video. The only thing about this is the volume is very low. I am at full volume right now, and it is very, very low. Yes, and it is very, very low right now, unfortunately. Now, you do got a play pause button. You can skip through the video. Let's see how fast it skips through the video. Oh, it actually skips through the video very, very, very fast. As you can see, I'm scrolling. And it does skip through the video very, very fast. So skipping through a YouTube video on the web browser is very, very fast. And you can also speed it up or slow down the video. As you can see, the video sped up just like if you're on the regular YouTube site. So as you can see, you can watch YouTube videos on here. It's funny how you can watch YouTube videos on the web browser, considering that there's actually a YouTube app specifically for the 3DS family in the eShop. So that's something to take in consideration. I have used the YouTube app in the eShop for the 3DSs, and I can safely say this is 100% better than using the app. So if you want to watch YouTube videos on your 3DS, I would highly recommend using the web browser, at least on the new 3DS and 3DS XL, the new ones. I would highly recommend watching it. Now, the quality is not the best on the web browser, as you can see right here. I wouldn't really call it high definition. It's somewhere in between 480 and 720, or it might just be 480p. But for a pinch, if you have your 3DS out, I'm actually surprised this does a very good job on watching videos on YouTube. And overall, as you can see, the experience on the web browser wasn't the best. Will this replace your cell phone, your smartphone, your desktop, your laptop? No, it is not a very good browser. It's clunky, it's slow. It has problems loading up some websites with a lot of pictures. and since it has that hinge, it's kind of awkward to actually do that. And yeah, overall, I give this a no-go. But for a pinch, it's not the worst, but it's not the great. But it's okay for watching YouTube videos. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.